Hello Gurus, welcome to Code with Vijay once again. Today we are going to build a fully automated build and release pipeline. It means we are going to create the infrastructure as the part of automation. We are going to build a web application, but this time we will not create the infrastructure, basically a web app in Azure or an app service in Azure. We will not create that manually. Instead of that, we will include that as the part of release pipeline. It means once we check in the code, it will automatically create the build and the release, and finally it will deploy the application, but the deployment infrastructure will be automated. We'll use code to create the infrastructure. Basically we are going to do infrastructure as code. Okay, if you don't know what is infrastructure as code, then that is as the name indicates, that is code. Okay, but that code define the infrastructure that needs to be deployed, and we can add that code as the part of our project or part of our repository, and we can version it, and anybody in the team can basically make changes to the code, and finally the code will run to create the infrastructure for us. Okay, that is as simple as that. Okay, in Azure, to implement infrastructure as code, Azure has something called Azure Resource Manager templates, or in short ARM templates. Okay, so ARM templates is nothing but a JSON file that defines the infrastructure and configuration of the project. Okay, the template basically uses a declarative syntax which let us state what we want to do or what we want to deploy without having to write the sequence of programming commands or anything. It's just a JSON template, and we can use that JSON template to create infrastructure. When we run that JSON template, Azure will create infrastructure for us. Okay, that is what we are going to see today. So for everything we need a plan. So this is what we are going to do today. Initially we will create an ARM template. As I told, ARM is Azure Resource Manager. Okay, we'll create a template, ARM template for web app. Then we will create a build pipeline, and we will add that ARM template as the part of build pipeline. The reason, because we need that ARM template later in the release pipeline. Okay, then after we create the build pipeline, we'll create a release pipeline, and we will use the ARM template to create the web app during the release process. Okay, initially we'll have one stage, or okay, let's think that is one environment. Okay, initially we'll have one environment, and we'll run the release, and we'll see, that release will create an infrastructure, basically a web app in Azure, and that will deploy the application to that environment. And after that we'll create another environment to see how the automation working together without changing anything, just one name of the web app. Okay, it basically, I want to show you, we can create as many environments we want, but it will run or the automation will run in all the environments. Okay, that is what we are going to see today, and this would be the sample application. This is just an ASP.NET Core web application. It's nothing super complicated, just a simple one. And we have, this is the solution we have here in this folder. We will add the ARM template which we are going to generate in some time. Okay, that is the plan. Now let us jump straight into the lab and let us do it together. Okay, I'm in Azure portal. I know you might be wondering that I have already promised you that we will not create any resources in Azure portal manually, but I'm here to show you a little trick how we can generate an ARM template. Okay, so let me go and create a resource. As I told, we have a web app. That's where we are going to deploy our application. Let me hit on create, and here I have to select the resource group. I'm going to select Azure DevOps, and the name of the web app is say Code with Vijay. Okay, and the runtime stack, we are running a .NET Core 3.1 application, and the location, let me select West Europe, which is near to me. Okay, let me hit on monitoring, and I don't need any monitoring. Let me hit on tags. I don't need any tags as well, because the intent is to show you how to automate it. Okay, so now we can go and hit create, but I'm not going to do today because I came here only to get an ARM template. Okay, so we can download the ARM template here. Okay, I will quickly take you through this template once I have downloaded it. Okay, let me hit on download and we'll save it to this folder. Okay, once it has been downloaded, let me go and unzip it. Okay, I'm unzipping it to this template folder, and now we have the template ready. Okay, as I told, I'll take you through this template in some time. Okay, let me add this as the part of the solution now. Okay, web app, add an existing item. We have the template here. I need to add both of these files. Okay, now that has been added to the solution. So let me quickly take you through this one. What does it basically do? Okay, this is the template. Okay, template starts with, it's not mandatory, but if we need to pass any parameters, then we have to add all those parameters here. For example, subscription ID. Okay, here we have a corresponding parameters.json, and we will define those parameter here. So basically, against each of these parameters, we will have a value which has been defined here. Okay, that is the parameter section. Next is the resources. This is where it will actually create the resources. It will have the API version, name, type, location, and all the information which is necessary to create this particular resource. Okay, so this is as simple as this. As I told, this a pure JSON file, and once we run it in Azure, it will create the infrastructure for us. Okay, so that is the template and parameters in a high level. Now let me check in this code. We don't have a build definition, or we don't have a build created yet in Azure DevOps. After checking the code, we'll go and create the build pipeline in Azure DevOps. So let me check in this code. Added ARM template. Okay, and let me push it to the repository. Okay, now it has been pushed. Let us go and check in the Azure repository that ARM template has been added or not, and we can see here under ARM template, we can see these two files has been added. Okay, the next step is to create the build pipeline, where we'll take this basically the template, the ARM template, as the part of the artifacts. Okay, let us do that next. So let us go to pipelines and let us create a pipeline here. That is the build pipeline. I'm going to use the classic editor, not the YAML one. So hit on classic editor. Okay, and the source repository is correct. This is the source repository. We have the application, basically the application we got is in this repository, and the branch is master. All that is correct. Click on continue. Okay, basically ours is a .NET Core application, so we need to build a .NET Core application, and looks at this build and test ASP.NET Core web application. That is the one we want. So I have added that in the build pipeline, and basically this will restore all the NuGet packages, build it, test it, and publish it. But before publishing, basically it will publish the artifact. Okay, but before publishing the artifact, we need to copy the template file which we have just created to a folder, because we need that in the release pipeline later. Because of that, I need to add one more task here, that is just a copy files. Okay, we can use this one, that will do the job, and we need to do it before publishing the artifact, because we need the template as the part of the artifact. Okay, the source folder is basically this one and this one. That is the source folder. That is where the template resides. So that is the source folder, and the content, basically we need to take everything from this folder. So this means all the contents. and target folder, we need to paste it, or we need to copy under the artifacts directory, that is this one. Okay, and we need to deploy, probably we need to copy it in a drop folder. Like, say, let us name it as drop ARM template. It can be any name, so let us name ARM template here. Okay, and that will do the copy part. Let us save this. Okay, everything is correct, and let us save and queue it. Okay, it will build application for us. Once it builds, let us go and see the artifact. The ARM template is added to the part of build artifact. So we can see the agent has been queued and it starts running. It takes some time to build and publish it. I'm going to post the video until then. Well, it's almost there. Yeah, okay, I don't need to post the video, it's almost there. And we can see the artifact has been generated. When I click on artifact and under drop, now we can see this folder has been created, and that folder has these two template, basically the template and the parameters. Okay, now we can take this to the part of release pipeline. So I'm going to create a release pipeline next. Go to releases. We don't have any release pipeline defined yet. Let us create one. Okay, and first we need a template, because we are going to deploy a web application, so this will do the job. Azure App Service deployment, that will deploy the web app. Okay, we'll select that one, and the stage name, let us name the first stage is dev, and we need an artifact. Basically, with the build which we have created sometimes back, has created the artifact for us, so because of that we have to select that build. Okay, and we always need the latest version. If you want to select a specific version, then you can do that as well, but I'm selecting the latest version and click on add. Now we have the artifact ready. The next step is I want to enable continuous deployment trigger. It means whenever the build has been completed successfully, I need to automatically deploy to this stage. Because of that, I'm selecting continuous deployment trigger. Now let us go to the release tasks. If you are not familiar with the build and release pipeline basics, then I have another video which you can see in the comment section of this video. You can go through it. It will take you through from scratch how to set up a build and release pipeline. Okay, and here the first thing we need to do here is to create the infrastructure. Basically, to create the infrastructure from the ARM template we have now. Because of that, let me add a new task here, that is ARM template deployment. This will deploy the ARM template we have and will create the resource. So that is the task we want, and that should go before the deployment. So I have moved to here, and here it needs few information: the connection, the subscription, the resource group. I'm going to deploy to the resource group which we have created before, and for your knowledge, you can automate the process of resource group creation as well, but I'm making it simple because of that I'm creating just the web app. And the location, okay, the location we have is West Europe. Okay, and the template, so the template is this one over here, and the parameters, that is these parameters. So we have selected both. Next, we can override the parameters. Okay, it means all these are the default values, and if you want to override one of the parameters or all of the parameters or any of the parameters, you can do that. Okay, I need to do that. The reason, because while running or while deploying it to dev, the name of this should be called with Vijay -dev or any name you want. Okay, so I need to override it all the time. Because of that, I'm going to create a variable and I will assign a value from that variable to this key here. Okay, I have selected that one, and this particular part I need to overwrite. Basically this value I need to overwrite. Okay, now I'm going to introduce variables. Okay, variables are, as any programming language, variables is just variables. Okay, and this variable is limited to this pipeline. The first variable we need is the app service name. Okay, and the value is code with Vijay. As I told, in each stage we need to have different values to deploy to that particular stage. Okay, so this is the value, and the value is scoped to a specific stage, that is dev. At the moment we have only one stage, dev. That is the reason it showed only one stage, dev, here. And this release means it's common to all stages. That's common, common across. One example is, say, instead of given location directly in the pipeline before, we could add it here as a variable, and that the scope of that variable is release, because the location won't change, depends on the stages. But in this case, dev is the scope. Okay, when we add another stage, QA, then we need to add another variable here with another value, and the scope would be QA. Okay, we'll come to that later, because we'll add another stage as well in some time, and we'll come back to this part. Before that, let me copy this variable value. Okay, and we need to get the value of that variable. Okay, it is as simple as this, dollar and inside parenthesis app service name. Then it will go and get the value of this variable, code with which it depends on the stage. Okay, now we are here, and when you go here we have to select the Azure subscription, and the app service name is the variable value which we have created sometimes back. Okay, and now this is all ready. Okay, we'll go to deployment service, and here everything is ready, and the package folder, it has selected this one, and everything is ready. Okay, now we need to click on save. Okay, and create a release. Okay, before creating a release, let us go and make sure we don't have anything defined in the resource group. Okay, when I refresh it, we shouldn't be able to see any app services defined here, so it's empty. Okay, let us go and create a release now. Hit on create. It has created the release. As we have enabled continuous deployment trigger, it has been queued, and the agent has been picked up the job, and it takes some time to complete the run. I'm going to pause the video until then. And now the release has been completed. It has created the ARM template. With this ARM template, it has created the resource, and it has deployed the application. Now when we go back to the Azure, and when we click on, when we refresh on this page, we should be able to see an app service called code with Vijay-dev, and the web application we have should be deployed. Let us see. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, it is refreshing everything, and we can see an app service code with Vijay-dev. Let us hit on that one, and let us see the application has been deployed or not. We can see the URL here. Click on that URL. Now we can see the application has been deployed. Okay, that is everything is working fine, and we have automated. Now let us go and create a new stage called QA. Okay, and see how the automation works again, but this time it will create another app service with the name code with Vijay-QA, because that's the name we are going to give. Okay, let me go back to releases, and let us edit this release, and I'm going to clone this. You can add another stage as well, but I'm going to clone this stage because I want to deploy once dev is fine, then I should go and deploy to a QA. So I've created this stage and named it to QA. Okay, that is ready. And the only thing we need to change, because you can see all the tasks is here, but only thing we need to change is this app service name to QA. Okay, because we need to create an app service for QA, and to make sure we don't have that yet, let me go to the resource group and refresh once again, and you can see it's loading up. You can see we don't have code with vijay-qa. Okay, we have created this one, and the scope is QA. Let me hit on save, and let me create another release and hit on create. Now we can see it started running again. First it starts run QA, and after that it will run, sorry, first it will run dev, and after that it will run QA. That is how we have created it. Okay, it will take some time to make all the deployment done, so until then I'm going to pause the video. So now the dev has been completed. It started picking up QA. Again, it will take some time to finish it. So let us wait until then. Okay, so the QA as well succeeded. Now let us go back to Azure and refresh the page. We should be able to see another app service with name code with hyphen QA, and it is there. Let us go and check the application has been deployed or not, and you can see the URL even code with vijay-qa azure websites.net. okay, and we can see that has been deployed. That is how we can automate a complete build and release pipeline. And if you want to see how we can make everything once again, because the build has been hasn't been configured to pick up whenever we do some changes. I'll show you what I mean. Here it's loading up the triggers. We did not enable continuous integration. Now we have enabled continuous integration. It means whenever we make some changes to the code, and immediately after we check in, it will automatically trigger this build, and once the build is succeeded, it will call the release, and the release will deploy the application to corresponding resources which we have created. Okay, let us see how it works. Let me save this one, and let me save it, and let me go and make some changes to the code. Here maybe I'm going to change index.html release automation completed, maybe just a sample change. Let me save it, and let me check in, and let me push the code. Now when we come back here, and if we wait for some time, let me refresh it. Once we should be able to see this pipeline has been triggered. Yeah, you can see that the change which we made has been detected, and it triggers the build, and this is the build. It takes some time. The agent has picked up the one, and it takes some time to build it. Okay, and immediately after this has been completed, we can see the release will trigger. Okay, you can see the release has been started. Okay, and when we go there, we should be able to see it will start a run dev first. We can see the dev is queued, Okay, and when we go back, the agent has been picked up the job and it is connecting, and once the dove has been completed, it will go and pick up the QA. Okay, again we'll wait for a second. I just want to show you everything, how everything is working to the, how everything is completely automated. There is no manual intervention in between. So we have enabled everything. Immediately after the code check-in, it will deploy the application to corresponding stages. Now the dev has been completed, and when we go back here and when we refresh the page, we should be able to see the change, and we can see automation has been completed and it has picked up QA. Let us wait for some time, and here you can see this is still automation. It has been deployed. We can have just refreshed. This is still automation, and we'll come back here again after this has been completed, and we should be able to see the change there as well. Okay, even QA has been completed. Let us come back here and refresh the page. We should be, and we can see the change here. So that is how we can set up a fully automated build and release pipeline, and that is how we can use infrastructure as code to create the infrastructure and to deploy the application to the infrastructure which we create. And if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe the channel, and thank you very much for watching my channel. Thank you.